We've come a long way from the press start screen. Where once there was only an improbably skillful playthrough of the game we were about to play greeting us, now games begin with Hollywood cinematic sequences that wouldn't look out of place on the big screen. But which are the truly great opening cinematics in PC gaming? The ones that it would be absolute sacrilege to hit escape on? It's time we answered that question, don't you think? Good, because otherwise we'd have had a falling out. Let's get on with it while we're still in each other's good books. And cement your place in ours, by the way, by giving us the old like and subscribe.
There's a scene that plays out in your head while you look down at the units in a strategy game from on high, and once in a generation, a cinematic manages to capture it. Suffice to say, Dawn of War's intro starts inside an explosion, and only ups the ante from there. The final shot of a decimated marine unit sticking the flag in the dirt just as drop pods fall is pure undiluted Warhammer, an image of honour, futility, and shoulder pad porn. Everything from the chatter of bolter fire to the of the orcs is worthy of Games Workshop's world. Even if Dawn of War had turned out to be absolute bobbins, this alone would have justified its development. A fantastic action sequence by any criteria. In fact, is it alright if I just watch it again? What do you mean we're in the middle of something? Man, and I thought the Dark Eldar were slave drivers.
Of all the cinematics of the late 90s, The Curse of Monkey Island is the one that hasn't aged a day. Well, maybe it's aged a couple of hours. The resolution looks a bit iffy now. But aside from that, this is a beautifully hand-drawn, timeless cartoon. We'd watch an entire film in this style. And that music. Oh, those steel drums are made of nostalgia. And, steel. Probably some steel in there too. It's the writing that makes Curse's intro so great though. Bursting with good-natured humour, we see a clueless Guybrush dream of chicken and grog as it floats past his Dodgem life raft, while zombie pirate LeChuck begs Elaine for her hand in marriage.
I can't. I'm washing my hair tonight.
It's an amazing reintroduction to some of our favourite characters, all of whom were mere 16-bit sprites when we last saw them. Watching Monkey Island come to life as a cartoon was truly jaw-dropping back in 1997. Bear in mind, animation was mostly flipbooks and LSD back then.
Every video game's intro cutscene would involve an assassin running along a collapsing frozen ship and beheading a monarch if they could get away with it. It's an irresistible premise if you're into shattering ice shards, fireballs and slow-mo gore splatter. And let's face it, every game developer in the world very much is into that. What luck, then, that The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings features a story that is precisely about that very thing. CD Projekt Red obviously couldn't believe their luck. Hang on lads, we can do the frozen ship beheading cutscene for this one, they said. In my mind's eye, in Polish. Frankly, all the Witcher games are in with a shout for inclusion on this list, but number 2's Enhanced Edition provides the real showstopper. If for no other reason than including basically all the special effects you'd find in a benchmark program or Unreal Engine features video, but in a way that actually makes some sense. Incredible scenes.
As we've already mentioned, 1997 was not exactly a vintage year for CGI, but through a combination of hand-drawn Vault Boys, photographs and computer animation, Fallout 1 provided a haunting introduction to the apocalypse. 1940s group The Ink Spots played over the whole thing. Not live, I don't think they're still touring, but the song, Maybe, instantly cemented itself as the Fallout theme tune. So iconic as the cinematic, in fact, that it was homaged for the trailer and intro of Fallout 3, first game in the series' modern rebirth. This time, the song was the Ink Spots' I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire, which was the tune Interplay wanted for the first game. They couldn't get the license back in 1997, but by 2008 this injustice had been put right. The civilized world was still a burned husk, of course, but still, one injustice at a time, eh?
Okay, so we might have an eye for fancy explosions and the odd limb torn asunder here at PCGamesN, but we can be cultured too. Civilization 6's intro avoids the video gaminess, video gameosity. It dodges the usual cliches of an intro cutscene for something more considered. Watch as a motif is introduced in each era, then called back on instantly in the first few frames of a new time. Look on as fireworks turn into gunfire, the Wright brothers' plane becomes a World War II dogfight, and an old school cockpit merges into a stock image of some futuristic machinery. Along the way, Sean Bean is on hand to pour vocal honey into your ears. To be honest, I'd have been fine with him sitting and reading a granola packet aloud for 2 minutes, so all that history stuff is a bonus.
You can't spell cinematic without cinema, and that's exactly what Relic looked to when making their own intro for Company of Heroes. It's not so much influenced by Saving Private Ryan as identical to it. This is pure Spielberg, from the German machine gunners shown only in shadow to the landing party sergeant shouting about hitting the shingle. You should really see a doctor about that. It's an exciting, if somewhat traumatic, introduction to the game's Normandy landing setting, and Relic also put a really superb visual trick at the end. The clip finishes by seamlessly bleeding into in-game graphics, signalling the start of your mission and making you feel really part of the action, which is, terrifying.
This is HQ to any available units. We have mechs down at Nav Gamma.
That's me doing a better job of Mechwarrior's naff British voiceover in about 6 seconds. Job done. There's something endlessly charming about Mechwarrior 2's military melodrama though, even as the CG looks increasingly weak and weightless. This is a short film that keeps the small scale and understands that mech fans just want to look out from that cockpit. It's the same first-person dream that games like Hawken and Mechwarrior Online have realised since. Now, where was I?
Bandits are hostile. Repeat, bandits are hostile.
Hang on, when were bandits ever not hostile? They're bandits. This script is rubbish.
Blizzard are alright at cutscenes, aren't they? In fact, they're so adept at making movies that StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm, an expansion pack, justifies its inclusion onto this list of the great and good. There are 2 reasons for that. One, it takes a gargantuan effort to make a premise as inherently silly as StarCraft look like meaningful, moving stuff. 2, this sequence of aliens crashing to Earth, amassing and swarming, cheers, a brave human last stand is basically what all game intros want to do. It's the apex of generic game cutscenes. Blizzard simply do it better than the other 1,300 studios who've also tried it.
Those are our favourite ways to start a game. That, and to let out our traditional war cry, set the headset mic to always on, and crank up a Darude song for all to enjoy. Let us know what you thought of our picks below, and don't forget to subscribe for more.